I thought I was wise when I entered university, but the truth is, I had no idea how one decision would fool me for years. My name is Sandra, not my real name, and I am a graduate of the University of Nigeria, Nsukka. Getting in felt like a dream come true. I remember holding that admission letter with shaky hands, thinking, finally, I did it. I'm going to make my parents proud. Walking into the campus for the first time, I felt unstoppable. Everyone around me looked so confident, so free, and I told myself, this is the beginning of my real life. Since I arrived late in the session, I asked my parents to send me just the acceptance fee and traveled straight to school. I stayed with my friend Thelma. We'd known each other since secondary school, thanks to my sister introducing us. She welcomed me like I was family, made me comfortable, and gave me the lowdown on what to expect the next day for my clearance and acceptance payment. The next morning, I set out to pay, only to be met with a huge, chaotic crowd. I didn't finish that day, so I had to return to Thelma's lodge when the office finally closed. Oh guys, her lodge was something else, just a single room where several tenants shared one toilet. It was basically a face me I face you setup, though not exactly. You cooked right in front of your door, and everyone could see everything. The next day, I met Chisholm, both male and female, and we quickly became friends. They were actually the first real friends I made at school, even though we were in different departments. Despite that, our bond grew fast. My friend Thelma had a guy friend, let's call him Tochi. He was her school boyfriend, though he wasn't a student anymore. He stayed in the same lodge as us. His room was furnished nicely, and he was already living the bachelor life. Because of that, Thelma often left me alone to hang out with him. One day, a neighbor passed by to take a bath. He greeted Thelma but ignored me. At first, I thought he was just arrogant, so I waved it off. But later, he asked Thelma, "Who's this beautiful damsel beside you?" I had no choice but to laugh, and that was how he started coming around Thelma's room more often. Meanwhile, my parents hustled even harder to get my lodge fee after I told them I was already falling behind in class. They decided I shouldn't keep bouncing back and forth between Thelma's room and the school, so they sent money for rent. After searching high and low, the only place I could afford was a room in the same lodge. It was much cheaper than other options. My parents brought all my belongings to the school, arranged everything for me, and made sure I was comfortable. Finally, I moved into my own room, leaving Thelma's place behind. And guys, should I say luckily or unluckily? My new right-door neighbor was none other than Charles, the same guy who had started coming around Thelma's room. When Charles found out I was his neighbor, he was overjoyed. "Finally, I have a neighbor," he exclaimed. From that moment, he started coming by my room often. We chatted, laughed, and sometimes even ate together. It felt easy and fun, like I had someone to rely on in this big, unfamiliar school. One night, Charles's cousin brought a girl to his room, so he had nowhere to stay. He pleaded with me to let him spend the night in my room. I hesitated for a moment, but I agreed. After all, I didn't really know how to sleep alone. I had spent so many nights in my friend's room that the idea of being by myself felt strange and scary. That night, we shared our first kiss. I also told him I was still clean, and he respected that. From that moment, we formed a bond neither of us could really explain. Life went on, and our friendship grew deeper. Fast forward a bit, the neighbors started warning me about Charles. They said he used girls and dumped them. At first, I brushed it off, thinking they were just jealous. By then, I was already deeply in love with him. Charles made school feel easier, more exciting, and somehow safer, at least until one day. That night, like many others, Charles pleaded with me to let him have his way with me. "I won't hurt you, I love you," he said over and over. That night, I gave in, not really from my heart, but maybe out of pity. After that, his affection for me seemed to increase. He started spending his little money on me, buying meat and fish that we added to our meals. At the time, it felt like care and attention. But slowly, I began to notice that my closeness with my two friends, Chisholm, was fading. I didn't realize what I was losing until one day. Everything changed. Charles laid his hands on me. He had always found little excuses to beat me, but now it escalated. He began to force himself on me even when I refused. He dated other women right in front of me, and if I dared complain, he would hit me. The man I once trusted had become the beast I feared. I had no friends, no sister nearby, and I couldn't say a word to anyone, not a single complaint, or else he would punish me. I lived in constant fear, obedient and silent, trying to survive each day. And this continued, like a shadow over my life, all the way until my graduation day. One day, everything came to a head. I went to take a bath and greeted a male neighbor, unaware of the danger waiting for me. Charles was inside my room, holding a belt. He used it to beat me, leaving marks all over my body. I couldn't take it anymore. In a desperate act to save myself, I grabbed a knife and ran to another neighbor's room, refusing to come out again. Charles didn't stop there. He burned all the belongings I had packed to take home. I had no choice but to travel back to my parents empty-handed. And to this day, I've told them I was robbed on the way home because I didn't know how to explain that I had a school boyfriend who treated me like trash. I thank God I made it back home alive. But the experience left scars that went far beyond the physical. I realized how quickly trust can be broken and how one wrong decision can have long-lasting consequences. Looking back, I realize how one wrong choice, influenced by loneliness and trust in the wrong person, almost destroyed my life. University is meant to be a place for growth, learning, and discovering yourself, not a playground for relationships that can leave you hurt, scared, or alone. Please, girls, when you get admission to university, focus on your studies. Forget relationships. That's not why you're there. Think about it. If something had happened to me, what would my parents have done? Today, I'm happily married with 2 children. But I wouldn't wish someone like Charles on any woman. Your future is too valuable to gamble on someone who doesn't respect you. Focus on your goals, your dreams, and your studies. Love will come in its own time, but your life, safety, and self-respect should never be compromised. This is just a glimpse into my university life. There's so much more, the moments, the mistakes, the lessons I learned along the way. I'll go deeper into my school life in the next posts, so if you want the full story, subscribe and follow along. Trust me, you don't want to miss it.